Welcome back, this is Board Game Officer. Today we are going to do a Start Here guide for Chronicles of Drunagor Age of Darkness version 1.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go step by step through this Start Here guide, but I am going to finish out. So this thing pretty much just kind of leaves you hanging after a handful of turns. Yeah, the third round, and then it's like, oh, now good luck with the rest of the chapter, right? Which is great. It's a great start. But so I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to actually finish the chapter so you can see this started as well as the chapter finishing. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to unpack your hero. So this start guide actually has you using Vorn. So I'm going to use Vorn here. What you're going to grab is you are going to grab Vorn Initiative card, the standard deck here. You're going to grab the heavy weapon and the plate armor per this part of his board there. That's how you know which ones to grab. And then you're going to grab the miniature for Vorn. Next is, which I've already done, is take the action cubes per your initiative card there. Now once you have these, you're going to place your weapon on the weapon slot and your armor on the armor slot there. And then you're going to set your max health to that darkened red there is your max health. That is where you'll start that. And placing your cubes here in the available action cube space. Once you have grabbed those, then you are going to choose your dungeon role. This one, we are going to choose the defender here, and you just grab the number 1 and number 2 of the dungeon role card, and you will place the number 3A and 3B off to the side for later within the game. Since we did choose the defender has a passive ability of toughness plus 3 HP, so that means we will go up to a max of 15 health for Vorn. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to set up the initiative track. According to your dungeon role that you chose, you will place your initiative card on that slot. So defender has arrows up, meaning I'll place my initiative token there. And the initiative track goes left to right on top, then left to right on bottom. So you'll place your initiative marker on the number 1 spot, top left corner, or whoever is the first on that top left corner. The next thing you're going to do is you are going to do the setup for the board. So here it tells you that you're going to need the Dungeon 1 tray. Then here it tells you which map tile you will need, which you'll need E4F. These stars here is where you could place your starting hero. This tells you the table space that you might need for the entire setup. And then here tells you however many heroes you are playing, you will set up this many. So if you're playing with 1, you will just set up the Skeleton Archer Rookie. If we were playing more, we would set up a lot more. However, since we are playing solo, true solo, we'll only place that one Skeleton Archer Rookie version right there. So here we have it set up. We have E4F right there. We have Dungeon 1 tray. We have the door that I forgot to show on here, that we place that door 1 card there. And we could use that little symbol there, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, to orientate our map tile. So let's talk about this summoning monsters real quick. You're going to have white monsters, gray monsters, and black monsters. And then of each one, you'll have rookie, fighter, champion, or veteran. And those are the difficulty levels of each type of monster there. So we were told to summon a skeleton archer. So what we do is we take their initiative card and we look at it here. That little blue rune symbol there with a white arrow up indicates that it's going to go on the blue rune and it's going to go above the track there, knowing that that's where it goes in the initiative order. Then you're going to take the yellow snap-on base and place it right there onto that. And that will indicate which track here for health it's going to go on. Its health there is 9. So we will place this on 9. And that is how we track this enemy's health. Now, real quick, I want to go over, before we go on, I do want to do this. I did not go through the story because I don't want to spoil that for you. If you just want to go through this, you can do that on your own. However, I did want to point out the rules before all this happened, which you are supposed to read before you start this. So, darkness spotting rule, no darkness. There's no ruin card at the start of the adventure. So, that is a card that we usually put on the initiative track. However, we will not do this during this tutorial first level here. If darkness is ever to be spawned, it's going to have the standard behavior, which is growing towards the strongest hero or the hero with the most health. Recall curse penalties. Whenever we take a recall action, willing or unwilling, we will receive 1 curse cube. Winning or losing the adventure, we win as soon as something says the adventure ends here. We lose if we ever have to take 2 trauma cubes or getting a 6th curse cube. And now we can start the adventure after completing the following setup, which we have done. So now that we have everything set up, we are first in initiative, therefore we can take the hero's turn now. So on a hero turn, a hero may take a move action by moving up to 3 spaces and use up to 2 action cubes to take what they call a cube action. So for the move action first, we're going to have Vorn move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Vorn is a melee character, therefore he is not able to reach that enemy because he is not adjacent for melee range. So we will use our green cube here, and we'll use the ability Bull Rush, which gives us the ability to move up to 3 so we can move again, and then up to 2 target adjacent enemies do 2 damage. So we will just move 1 of those 3 there. Then we are able to do 2 damage up to 2 adjacent. There's only 1, but we will do 2 damage. 1, 2. So he's down to 7 health now. And since that cube is there, that cube will stay there until we do a recall action. However, we still have 1 more cube action to do this turn. So we are going to do a Guarding Strike. What that Guarding Strike is going to do, it's going to do shield 2, +2 to hit, and a +1 damage. So since this is a yellow cube, it is a melee attack, as you can see by that symbol there. And melee attacks can only target enemies that are directly adjacent, either diagonal or orthogonally. Now, if you look back here real quick, there are 2 different types of attacks. Our first one, we did a spell attack that just tells us to do damage right off the bat. No rolling, no nothing, just do the damage. And then there are weapon attacks. Weapon attack is going to involve some rolling, which is what that +2 hit is referring to. So let's go ahead and resolve this Guarding Strike. We're first going to shield 2, and we place that token just on the board to denote that he now has 2 shield and a +2 hit. So that means we need to roll. So because it's a weapon attack, we look at our weapon, and we need a 7+ to be able to hit to do 3 damage. If we get below that, then it's a complete miss, no damage done. However, because we get a +2 to the hit, we get a +2 to this dice roll to try to meet that 7. So let's say we roll a 6. Now, 6 normally would not succeed, therefore that would be a miss. However, because of our +2 to our hit, this technically becomes an 8, therefore it is a hit. So once again, we look here, we have a 3. However, this has a +1 damage, so we are doing 4 damage to the skeleton archer. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. He is down to 3 health now. So just as a note, you can go to page 54 in the rulebook, and it's going to tell you what all the terms mean. It's a quick reference guide to all the terms. All right, so we have now done 2 cube actions. We don't have any free actions to do, therefore we end our turn, and the initiative token passes over to this skeleton archer. So now, let's go ahead and go through a monster's turn. So the AI for the enemies are pretty straightforward. You look at the card and they kind of basically do exactly what they say. Couple notes is they will always move, then attack. They will never attack and then move. Also, they do not have to roll like the heroes do. They hit automatically straight up for their damage. Now this is true for both heroes and enemies. If you are adjacent to an enemy, then you cannot complete a ranged attack. And if we look here, he is a ranged character denoted by that red target there, the red symbol. So since the skeleton archer cannot attack, he is going to move first. There is no penalty in this game to disengage from an enemy, so he will just go 1, 2, and he will move 2 away. So now he is not adjacent, and range is calculated by these blue squares here. Range of 1 is 1 entire blue square away. So they are in adjacent large areas. He can attack him with his range now. So now let's look at his card to see what he's going to do. First, he's going to multi-shot 2. That means if we had 2 heroes, he would try to attack 2 of them. Poison 1 means that if any damage goes through, if at least 1 damage goes through, that hero will gain poison 1. So we have 3 damage incoming. First off, with no choice, this shield will always block any incoming damage first before anything else is done. So already that 3 has turned into 1 damage coming through now. So at this time is when the hero may choose to do any of these reactions when they are getting attacked to try to prevent any incoming damage. So if Warren only has 1 damage coming through, so he could choose to take that damage and to receive a poison, or he can use one of his 2 reactions that he has, or 3 reactions that he has, to try to prevent that last incoming damage. So he will choose to use this red cube. As you can see, you can use any cube that you want, and I will place that cube there. Now that prevents, even though it does say prevent 3, it prevents that last incoming damage. Therefore, he takes no damage. Therefore, he takes no poison. So now that his attack resolved, the enemy's turn is over. And since we don't have anyone else on the initiative track, it goes back to Vorn for our second round. So now we can see that he is 2 spaces away. He only has 3 health left. So we are going to do the Join the Fray ability on our defender skill here. Now what this does, it lets us self shield 2. So we bring back that shield 2 token there, and we get to move 2 and +0 hit. So this allows us to move and do a weapon attack. So we'll just use one of those 2 movements there. So now we are adjacent, and now we will roll for that +0 hit. So this time we get +0. So whatever we roll on the die is what we get. So let's say with this one, an 11. That means we hit. We moved right there to be adjacent to him. So that 11 is a hit. So we do 3 damage. And if we're looking here, he only has 3 damage left. Therefore, he is eliminated. We remove him from the board. We remove his initiative card from the initiative track. And since that was just our first cube action, it is still our turn. We could continue on. So now that there's nothing else on the board, we are free to open that door. And to open a door, you obviously have to be adjacent to it. And opening a door is a minor action. So let's go ahead and go through what opening a door looks like. So we'll do the minor interaction to interact with this door, and we'll open up here, and we have a little bit of flavor text that goes on with opening that door, and then we will have the setup instruction just like at the beginning of the scenario. However, this is going to have that little yellow area. This is where that door meets up right there with the new setup here, and then we'll have some rules. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we have this new board set up. We've got a skeleton archer and 1 shadow cultist. Oh, forgot to put the chest out. Right there. However, we do have some special rules here. At the beginning of the shadow cultist activation, you must draw a ruin. Place the darkness tile shown on the following standard behavior. If the shadow cultist is on darkness, it must be placed next to the darkness connected to the shadow cultist. Event trigger. When the last enemy is defeated, we will read the special event, A Sweet Old Lady, on page 10. So now we'll start to introduce the darkness effect, or the darkness rules here. So it is still our turn, so let's jump back in. So as you can see, Vorn is pretty far away from any of the enemies to do too much left on his turn. So what he's going to do, we're going to use Whirlwind of Still here, which as you can see, it says self shield 2. So we'll gain 2 more shield. Now 4 is the max of any token that you could hold. Therefore we're at max shield there. And then it does say up to 2 target adjacent enemies 1 damage. We are not adjacent to anyone right now, so that will just kind of go to waste. However, we are at least shielded up for the onslaught attack of the 2 after our turn is over. Also, he still has not used his move action, so he's going to move his 3. However, this is water, so his first step, he's actually going to lose 1 movement because he's wading in the water. So that counts as 1, 2, 3, and that's his full 3 movement for his movement action. Now that we have used all cubes, immediately after using all cubes and resolving the ability, you have to do what is called an unwilling recall, where we bring back all of our cubes. However, we'll have to take a curse cube and place it in one of the slots here for our skills. So we're going to place it on that skill there. Now, that skill we cannot use while that curse cube is there. We will have to cleanse ourselves to get rid of that to be able to use our battle focus again. So coming back to the initiative track, Vorn's turn is over. It is now the skeleton archer's turn. As you can see, the skeleton archer does have 4 movement. So he is going to go 1, 2. Since he is in range, he does not need to move more than that 2 to be able to attack. And he will do that 3 points of damage. However, as you can see, he does have 4 shields, so he will get rid of 3 of those. Therefore, take no damage. And that is the end of the skeleton archer's turn. So now we move the initiative token over to the shadow cultist. However, because we have the special ability here, what we're going to do is we're going to grab this bag with all the tokens in here. So we're going to draw, and we draw the orange, and we look on the back, and we have that little L shape. So this ruin is going to go on the board there, on the orange one, and we're going to grab that shape that it showed us on the back of that. Now we're going to come over to the board, and it is going to try to grow toward, it is going to start underneath the shadow cultist here, and it's going to try to grow towards our hero. However, as you can see, that's how it wants to grow, and it can't. So what it's going to do is actually break down into 3 individual pieces. Now I want to note, it will always be 3 no matter how big the darkness thing was. So even this one will break down to 3 if it needs to break down. So it starts underneath the shadow cultist as stated in the rules. Then it is going to grow towards the nearest hero. So technically this one could go here as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So either one is technically the same distance, whether it goes there or there. The party leader may choose which way it goes. I'm going to choose for it to go down in that direction. Just as a note, you could look on page 44 in the rulebook to check all the darkness spawning rules. Now, the darkness, there are going to be a few penalties for the hero and positives for the enemies for this darkness spawn. So since it is the Shadow Cultist's turn here still, and the Shadow Cultist is on darkness, his attack is going to have a +2. So he is attacking actually for 6 if he stays on top of the darkness there. If a hero is ever to step onto it the first time on their turn, they will take 2 non-preventable damage. And then throughout the turn, they may continue to step on. Just the first time they step on it their turn, they will take 2 non-preventable damage. Also, if a hero is to stay on it and attack, they get a -2 to their roll when they do any type of weapon attack. So the Shadow Cultist has a movement of 3. However, as you can tell, he is ranged. So he is only going to have to take 1 step, and he's able to stay on top of darkness, and he's still one range away from Vorn. So let's go ahead and attack, see what he's going to do. He's going to burn 1 and curse 1. And because he's on top of darkness, he will do 6 damage. So Vorn has 1 shield left, so that goes down to 5 incoming damage. And he's going to use a red one here again to endure, prevent 3 of it. So that means we still have 2 more incoming damage. You can only use 1 reaction per attack, so I cannot use 2 of those right now. Therefore, I have 2 incoming damage. So I will go down from 15 to 13. And because I did not prevent everything, I will take whatever this says. So I will take a burn and a curse. So I will take 1 burn and another curse cube here. And I'm going to place it on this first aid here. All right, that was the end of his turn. And now, since nothing else is on the initiative track, we go back to Vorn's turn for the 3rd round. All right, now this is where this kind of says go for it. It gives you a little hint to use Join the Fray and Guarding Strikes so you can attack and gain shields. Then it'll go through interactions so you know how to interact with that treasure chest when it comes time. And then how to end the adventure when you finish that. So this is where it leaves you hanging. However, I will not leave you hanging. Let's go ahead and finish this out and see what Vorn can do to the Skeleton Archer and the Shadow Cultist. All right, now I am free reign. I can do whatever I want. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do a move. Let's go ahead and do Join the Fray here because it lets me self-shield 2, move 2, and +0 hit. Meaning I can move up here. One thing I did not talk about in that is the elevation difference. If you are down an elevation from your enemy, you get a -2 to your hit roll. However, if you are above the enemy, you get a +2 to your hit. Meaning I definitely want to get out of that water so I don't have to worry about that disadvantage there. And then I got a +0 hit here. Oh, and I have a burn, so I'll get rid of that burn and take 1 more damage because that is non-preventable damage there. All right, I'll do my +0 hit, and I get a 18. Yeah, so that is 3 damage to the Shadow Cultist, or the Skeleton Archer. So he goes down to 6. And then I am going to use my Guarding Strike, because it gives me that +1 damage and +2 to hit and the shield. Like, that is really a good combination for Vorn here. So let's go ahead and do a +2 hit now. There we go, 13. So that is 3 + 1. That is 4 damage. So that will go down from 6 down to 2. That is my 2 cube actions. However, I still have a move action and any free actions left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to interact with this chest. As a free action, I'm not adjacent to any enemies. If you are adjacent to enemies, you cannot do any minor actions other than focus abilities and consumable items. So, because we're not adjacent to anyone, I can interact with this chest. So I'll take that chest off the board. I'm going to roll the chest die. Basically, this has 2 blank sides here. These 2 blank sides means that it was not trapped. Anything else means that this chest was trapped and I get hurt. Haha! It was not trapped, therefore I do not get burned or anything. And I get a potion of preparation. So I can discard this to self-focus 2 and cleanse 1. That is something else we didn't go over yet. Cleansing. Whenever I get to cleanse 1, I get to get rid of any poison and 1 curse cube. So this would actually come in a lot of handy. That's a phrase. That will come in handy there. I'm actually going to put it right here so you guys can maybe kind of see it there and remind me, because usually it goes down here below your board. However, I don't have space on the table, so I'm not doing that as of right now. Now that is the end of my turn. I've gotten that chest. Now let's go ahead and look at the initiative track here. Skeleton Archer is going to go next here. And as you can see, the Skeleton Skeleton Archer does not need to move. He's already within range 1 of me. So he is going to attack. However, just like last turn, I get to block 3 of that. And that's it. The Shadow Cultist will go. And once again, it's the beginning of his turn. So we will draw a token out of the bag here. We get a blue long L here. So we'll place that there. We'll grab a big L. And we'll try to place it on the board so it gets me. So since he's on darkness, it just needs to be adjacent to some of the darkness. And as you see, if it gets placed like that, it does get me. Therefore, I will take 2 non-preventable damage there. And then he is still on top of darkness, and he does not need to move, so he will attack me for +2 damage again, which, once again, if you remember, is 6 damage, so that goes down to 5. I'll use this one to prevent 3, so that goes down to 2, so I'll take 2 damage. And I'll gain that burn again, and I'll gain that curse again. However, I'm going to cover that one up this time, because I've got a plan. Because plans always go according to plan, right? All right, so that's the Shadow Cultist's turn. No one else. It is back to Vorn's turn. All right, you guys ready to demolish these two? All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this. Oh, I get hurtful one more, so I'm already down to 7. Whew. That went real quick. Tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to move 3 and up to 2 target adjacent enemies 2 damage. So I'm just going to move 1. There's only 1 adjacent, but if you remember, he only has 2 damage left. So I'll take that 2 damage, kill the Skeleton Archer, remove his card from the initiative track, and that was my first cube action. Now, because I don't have any cubes left, I will immediately take a unwilling recall action and already have to take my 3rd curse cube here, which is pretty crazy. 6 of these and we lose, and we're already halfway there. All right, and we will put it on. Ooh, I totally forgot. I did roll an 18 that one time where I should have self-shielded too. I forgot about that 16 plus ability. My bad. However, we will put this on this prevent divert there. Just because there's only 1 enemy, I don't need 3 prevents or reactions because I'm not going to be able to use that many. Anyways, okay, now I still get 1 more cube action because I was in the middle of my turn. What I'm going to do is I'm going to battle focus, which will let me gain 1 focus and cleanse 1. And I'll go ahead and cleanse that one there. My whirlwind up still. And now, so that's my 2 cube actions there. However, I will use this now where I will get to focus 2. So I will gain 2 more focus and another cleanse. And I'll go ahead and cleanse this first aid. Now I get rid of that. Now, I have not used my move yet because I used my bull rush to move. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my movement to move 1, 2. However, because that was my first time entering a space, I exited a darkness space, but I have not entered one. Because I entered one, I do have to take 2 non-preventable damage. So I'm already down to 5. Don't worry, guys. I have a plan. Right? If you ever watched Baron on Meet Me at the Table, Baron and Colin, I've got a plan. It's never good sign. So now I'm adjacent to him. So I'm going to use my focus ability, which is Hammer Crush. It's going to cost 3 focus. Focus abilities are minor actions, therefore they do not count as a cube action. Therefore, even though I've done 2 cube actions, I can still do this attack. And if you see here, it's +3 hit, +3 hit, +2 damage. So what that means is I get 2 separate attacks. Both attacks are going to have a +3 to the roll, and each one is going to have +2 damage to each attack that hits. Meaning, if I hit both of them, I will do 10 damage. And if you look, he only has 9 health. So as long as I don't miss on either one of these, I will defeat the Shadow Cultist, which is good because he's almost defeating me. All right, let's go ahead and go for roll number 1. I have a +3 to this hit. 8. 8 + 3 is definitely greater than 7. So we'll take this down from 9 to 4 because of that +2 damage. Now we'll go ahead and go again. And we got a 5. Oh my goodness. So good that we have that +3 because that would have missed, but that becomes an 8. So that is a hit. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we kill the Shadow Cultist. Bum ba dum ba bum bum. All right. And we take his card off the initiative track. Now, if you remember, when we opened up this door, I had another special thing. When the last enemy is defeated, read special event, a sweet old lady on page 10. So this is when you will come to special event, sweet old lady. Once again, I'm not doing the story here, so I'm not going to read this. However, it does have you go to the Book of Interactions, which I do want to talk about. The Book of Interactions is going to take you to this. Now, this is one of the sweetest part about this game is now you have the choice between between these three options. Do you want to try to talk to that little girl? Do you want to try to calm the old lady down? Or do you just want to step away and leave them alone altogether? And when you choose it, because I have those numbers, you will go into the back of the adventure book. As you can see, all of these have numbers, and you'll go to that specific number, and you will see what happens. There might be other choices to make. There might be rolls to make. There might just be a straight up, this is what happened because you chose this. And then, as you can see, some of these at the end here, it'll just say, so this is one of the choices, and it just says, then read End of the Adventure, The Right Thing on page 10. And then you'll come back to the adventure book, End of the Adventure, The Right Thing, and this will take you to the end phase here, to the camp phase. Then you will gain the reward from that chapter, so each player chooses and unlocks one level 1 skill or dungeon roll skill for their hero. Now these are the ones that you set aside at first, meaning these level 1s, you can choose any one of these to pick, and whichever one you pick, you get to gain that cube. So you'll have an extra cube. So if you choose this one, because this one is the blue, we'll go in the blue phase, you get a blue cube, that will get you another red cube, another yellow cube, and another green cube. Or if you wanted to upgrade your defender to 3A, you would be able to choose any of the 4 colors for that extra cube that you would get. Also, on the back of the health or enemy health tracker, you will have the camp phase, and you can go through each of these steps to refresh your character, refresh the board, refresh everything through these steps to continue on to the next chapter. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Start Here guide. I hope that made sense. I hope that you enjoyed that. I'm going to try to do some playthroughs. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you think. If there's anything else about this game, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I will see you later.